Hello, my name is Stephen Crane, and my partner is Bartholomew Driscoll. We created a Borderlands board game from the digital version or video game version of Borderlands. It is a combination of both Borderlands 1 and 2, so we have all 10 Vault Hunter characters that you can play as well as various enemies and invincibles for the badass side. It is a two-team based game. It can be played either with 2 people or up to 5 people. The badasses, which are your typical enemies and your invincibles, they are controlled by a single person. And then the Vault Hunters, there are 4 Vault Hunters on a team. If you have one person playing as the Vault Hunters, they control all 4 of them. If you have up to 4 people playing as the Vault Hunters, then one person gets 1 Vault Hunter each. If you have varying numbers, then you split up the 4 Vault Hunters equally through them as best you can. For our items, we included all 150 unique shields and weapons from Borderlands 2. So that's everything from blue weapons, blue shields with red text, all the way through legendaries, purples, pearlescence, and seraph weapons and shields. Each character, they can hold up to 5 items that are equipped, 1 shield and 4 weapons. They can carry more in their inventory, but to swap one out, they need to take an action for that. The turns are broken down into a little bit differently between the Vault Hunters and the badasses. The badasses, they have a spawn phase where you spawn all of the enemies that is according to sheets for that board. Then they can move, use an action, and attack. Actions are only usable by the invincibles because they're the only ones with abilities. All the default enemies do not have abilities, so you can kind of skip that phase during typical boards. The Vault Hunters' turns, they have movements, actions, and attacks, where some Vault Hunters have abilities that you can activate, while other Vault Hunters have passive abilities that are always active. For example, Maya, when resurrecting somebody from Fight for Your Life, may do it as long as she has line of sight on them and is not blocked by an obstacle. So she doesn't need to be right next to the downed character to resurrect them. Where Salvador, he passively attacks with 2 weapons at the same time. Krieg has his Bloodsplosion, where if you kill an enemy, they explode equivalent to their health, dealing damage to any enemy within that blast radius. Axton can throw out one of his weapons onto anywhere on the board, and it will auto-attack enemies within that weapon's range. Lilith, she has double SMG damage. Roland has double assault rifle damage. Zero can shoot through enemies, and for each enemy he shoots through, the damage is doubled before it hits the next enemy. Gage, when she shoots someone, it ricochets off to the next closest enemy as well. Then there's also Mordecai, who has double sniper rifle damage, and Brick, who has double shotgun damage. The playable badass enemies that you can be are midgets, bandits, psychos, marauders, and badass psychos. Where the invincible that you can play as on our board game is Terramorphous, as well as his 5 tentacles, which are spike tentacles, boulder tentacles, laser tentacles, masher tentacles, and fire tentacles. We have 2 boards currently for our game. We have Thousand Cuts, where all the players initially start out. Vault Hunters start on the green spaces. Enemies will spawn on red spaces. Black spaces are objects that you can't shoot through or walk over. White spaces are open tiles where anybody can go. Yellow spaces are chests that you can open. When you open a chest, you have to be next to it, and you roll a D6, and that tells you how much loot you get from it. So say you roll a 3, then you draw 3 item cards. The blue space takes you on to the next level. The next level is Terramorphous Peak, where it initially starts the boss battle once you get there. So on the 4th turn, on every 4th turn, Terramorphous the Invincible spawns in a new location. To spawn Terramorphous, you roll a d20 2 times. 9 and 12. So, rolling a 9 and a 12, I'm given 2 options. I can either spawn him at grid location 912 or 12-9. Then, with Terramorphous, on every 4th turn as well, a group of his tentacles will spawn. The first turn being the Spike Tentacles, second time he spawns in, it'll be the Boulder Tentacles, then Laser Tentacles, Masher Tentacles, and Fire Tentacles. They have to spawn within 4 tile radius of him, so that's a 9x9 grid. So wherever Terramorphous spawns in, this time being 912, for example, then the tentacles have to spawn within 4 tile radius of 912. Terramorphous himself does not have any attack stats. It is all based on the tentacles, but he has 50,000 health. The tentacles, however, have attacks and ranges that effectively are how Terramorphous will deal damage to the Vault Hunters. And then if Vault Hunters shoot the tentacles, they do equivalent damage to Terramorphous up to their maximum health. So since each tentacle has 300 health, you can only do up to 300 damage to Terramorphous by attacking a tentacle. Granted, you can attack Terramorphous himself for more. Now on the 3rd turn, once Terramorphous is out for 3 turns, both him and his tentacles are removed from the board. They keep the damage that was dealt to him, or at least Terramorphous, and then for 1 whole turn, he is not on the board. On the 4th turn, you roll 2 more d20, and he spawns in with the next group of tentacles. The Vault Hunters, they do not get killed when they reach 0 health. What they do is they go into Fight for Your Life, where they cannot use an action and they cannot move, so they can only attack. They have 3 turns to either get a kill or have another Vault Hunter come over to them and pick them up. When they are resurrected, they gain 50% health and 100% shields. So you have to accrue that over time with health regen or shield regeneration if you take damage. If they do not get a kill or do not get resurrected, then they die and are removed from the board with their items. And that is Borderlands, the board game.